The team was building a new bus stop in the country. Right, Muck, we're ready for the gravel, said Wendy. Okay, where do you want it? Asked Muck eagerly. Over here, please, she replied, pointing at a spot just in front of Rolly. It's a good thing you... Muck lowered the scoop and dumped the gravel. Wendy waved Rolly forward to flatten it. Come on, Bird, let's rock and roll, rumbled Rolly. Toot, chirped Bird happily. Dizzy was practicing her aerobics routine. To the left. 2, 3, 4, and stretch, she chanted. As she reached up, she noticed something moving just in front of Rolly. Stop, Rolly, stop, Dizzy shouted. Rolly screeched to a halt. What is it, Dizzy? Asked Bob. Look, said Dizzy, there is a stone with a head, and it's moving. Wow, it's a tortoise, Wendy said. How did it get here? It's a good thing you spotted him, Dizzy. We could have had a very nasty accident, said Wendy. Yeah, said Dizzy, smiling proudly. The tortoise started to climb up the pile of gravel very slowly. Bird jumped down. Rolly peered at the tortoise. You're like me, aren't you? He said. Slow, but you get there in the end. What are we going to do with him, Wendy? I don't know, Rolly, but he can't stay here while we're working. He might get hurt. Can I take him to Timmy back to the yard, please? Rolly begged. Who's Timmy? Asked Bob. Timmy the tortoise. That's his name, said Rolly. Aha, laughed Bob. Yes, we'll keep him until we find his owner. He picked up Timmy to keep him safe while Rolly finished the job. When they were done, Bob, Rolly, and Dizzy took Timmy back to the yard. Muck went on ahead with Lofty to collect the material for the bus stop. I've got the shelter so you can carry the bus stop sign, Muck called over to Lofty. Oh, yeah, I think so, said Lofty, and he followed Muck back to the bus stop. At the yard, Bob, Dizzy, Scoop, Bird, and Rolly gathered around Timmy's box. Aw, can we keep him, Bob? Asked Dizzy. Tortoises are an endangered species. Timmy must be very precious to someone. We'll have to find his owner. Timmy's owner will be looking everywhere for him, said Scoop. You're right, Scoop, said Bob. I want you and Dizzy to go and find out if any of the neighbors have lost a tortoise. Can we find them? Shouted Bob. Yes, we can, Scoop and Dizzy replied as they rushed out of the yard and began knocking on all the doors on their street. Meanwhile, Rolly watched over Timmy as he nibbled on a lettuce leaf. Dizzy trundled off to Mrs. Potts' house. When Dizzy arrived, Mrs. Potts was in her garden searching under the bushes. Tommy, Tommy, Mrs. Potts called. Have you lost something? Asked Dizzy. Yes, my tortoise, Mrs. Potts replied. Oh, we found him, cried Dizzy. Thank goodness, is he all right? Mrs. Potts asked. Yes, come to the yard and see, said Dizzy, jumping up and down. At the bus stop, Wendy was digging a hole for the signpost when Lofty and Muck arrived with the rest of the parts for the bus shelter. Well done, now easy does it, Lofty, Wendy instructed as he lifted a piece of the shelter from Muck's back dumper and placed it by the signpost. Now for the roof, said Wendy. Lofty lifted the roof panel very slowly. Forward a bit, Wendy called to Lofty. Lofty swung the panel over Muck's head. Careful, shouted Muck. Can we build it? Asked Wendy. Yes, we can, Lofty and Muck shouted back. Good work, team, said Wendy.
Lofty said in the movie, oh, I think so. Lofty said that.
Back at the yard, Rolly was guarding Timmy's box, but soon he got tired and he fell asleep. Bird and Pilchard snuck up to Timmy's box. Pilchard tipped the box over to get a closer look. Timmy poked his head and legs out of his shell. Pilchard was so surprised that she ran to the other side of the yard. Bird watched the tortoise start to move away slowly. Toot, toot, he said as he jumped up on Timmy's shell, trying to stop him from escaping. But Timmy continued out of the yard. Rolly was still fast asleep. Bob met Farmer Pickles and Travis outside the yard. "Hello, Farmer Pickles. That's a lot of lettuce you've got there," he said. "We're on our way to sell them at the market," said Farmer Pickles. Bird jumped on top of the trailer. Some of the lettuce wobbled and fell onto the pavement. "Whoops, be careful, Bird," said Bob. "Don't worry, Travis, I'll pick them up for you," Bob said as he scooped up the lettuce. He didn't realize that he'd picked up Timmy as well. When Bob put the lettuce on Travis' trailer, he put Timmy on the pile too. "Do you think I could keep a head of lettuce for the tortoise we found?" Bob asked. "Yes, of course," said Farmer Pickles as he climbed up onto Travis. Rolly was looking at Timmy's empty box when Dizzy and Mrs. Potts arrived at the yard. "Where's my tortoise?" Mrs. Potts asked. "I don't know. I think Timmy's lost," said Rolly sadly. "I fell asleep, and when I woke up he was gone." "He's called Tommy, Rolly," Mrs. Potts corrected. Everyone searched all over the yard, except Rolly, who kept very still just in case he rolled over the tortoise. "Tommy," called Dizzy. Wendy, Muck, and Lofty arrived back at the yard and joined in the search. Farmer Pickles followed them in. "I might have found just what you're looking for," Farmer Pickles said. He was fast asleep at the bottom of the trailer. "Oh, thank you, Farmer Pickles," said Mrs. Potts. Bob and Rolly helped take the tortoise back to Mrs. Potts' house. "This new run should keep Tommy, safely off the road," said Bob. "I thought he looked like a Timmy, but now I think he's more of a Tommy," said Rolly, laughing. "I'm just glad to have him back," said Mrs. Potts. "It's been a busy day," said Scoop. "Yeah, we built a great bus stop, didn't we, Lofty?" said Muck. "I haven't even finished this one yet." "Yeah, I think so, Lofty." "I found a tortoise," added Rolly. "And I found its owner," chirped Dizzy. "I'm going to miss that little fella," said Rolly. "But I'm glad he's back with Mrs. Potts where he belongs."
Look, we do one more.
Nope.
Whoa!
Yay,
Are you
go to the
serious?
car.
One more?
In the morning we're going in the car.
These are
No,
really
no.
long.
They are long. And look at you yawning.
Ha ha.
I'm so deep.
Let's look at the pictures. Look at the pictures. What's he doing? Oh, he's got a hot water bottle. It's a handy thing to have.
Where at water bottle?
Right there. See?
Why?
Right there. I think he's got a cold. Huge sneeze. I think the cement mixer is a bit small, don't you?
Too small.
How much cement can you mix with a thing that size? What the devil are you doing, Aaron Lemon? What? What's your mom doing, Camry?
She's taking pictures.
Taking pictures.
Can we do that apple tree one? And look at that. The very, very, very last one.
Do you have a shorter book? These ones are awfully long. You've got such a... Scoop has some fun.
Can we do one more that